Oh, I'm sorry for the delay, y'all. Sometimes we gotta build the plane while we're flying it. I'm in the air, like one of the engines went out. Hold on, let me turn this off. Hold on. Oh, I'm sorry for the delay, y'all. Turn that off. All right. Let's get this going, y'all. Let's get this going, y'all. Let's take this blur off real quick. Let's take this blur off. We're gonna keep it black and white for a little bit though. We're gonna keep the black and white on just for a little bit while we do the intros and let y'all know who I am. I am DotSale, and this is Lunch with DotSale. You know what we'll do basically, and this will be every day at noon. You know, today a little bit late, but don't worry because I am gonna fulfill your appetite with not only good food, but good news too. Because we got some crazy stories to get through. We have some crazy stories to get through. All right, and they consist of takeovers in the Chicago streets, which this is happening all throughout the United States. These car takeovers are insane, and it's got the residents worried, and they're actually doing something to fight back. We're going to cover that. We're going to talk about a crazy gunman that storms a Houston convenience store. So we're going from Midwest, we're going down south over there in Houston, so where there's crime there. Then we're gonna go all the way over to New York on the East Coast and see that over there we got smash and grabs at luxury handbag stores where they got away with a lot of loot, and we're gonna break down the amount that they got. And then we're gonna go all the way to the West Coast and we're gonna talk about a crazy brawl between California teens over there. And lastly, we're gonna end it on a good note, and we're gonna talk about a very, very heartwarming story that caught my attention. So we're gonna end it off on a good note, but we gotta get to the chaos, we gotta get to the drama, we gotta get to all the crazy negativity going on out here because it is something that we need to be aware of. But first, before we get to all that, we gotta eat, y'all. Now, lastly, I consider y'all family if you are on the show. But if you're subscribed, it's a whole different level. It's like immediate family, right? I mean, if you're just watching, you're not subscribed, it's cool, whatever. No problem. Glad to have you here. But then like when you subscribe, when you become members, like you're getting into a whole different like subsection of family, right? So, definitely like, subscribe, share it, do all those things. And I just appreciate y'all for being here. So, as promised, we're going to get to our lunch. And we are going to have shawarma. I'm going to explain to you what this is. Maybe not everybody knows what shawarma is. Let's go ahead and take you to it, get you a visual of it. So this is a popular Middle Eastern street food, all right? Shawarma. And, you can have it with your meat of choice. If, you're vegan or plant-based, you can, put the alternatives in. But, a lot of people eat it with chicken, lamb, or beef. It's cooked on a vertical rotisserie, cook it up and kind of like, the lamb, the Euro sandwiches, how they shave it off and all that, and they throw it in there. It's placed inside of a warm flat bread or pita type of bread. Probably want to, cook it, a little oil in there, throw it on the pan, let it sizzle, get a nice little crisp on there. You don't want to just eat it like fresh out. You don't want to pull the pita fresh out of the fridge or not warm it up. You want that warm feeling, like this is a warm food, right? It's supposed to be kind of a comfort food tasting type of situation. Now, as far as sauces, I'm a sauce guy. I love sauces. I don't know if y'all like sauces. Some people like their food dry and they just drink a lot of water with it. I like to, have my food a little bit, it's easier, right? When it's got like some type of flavor to it. So you can go, garlic, yogurt, tahini, and then you can top it off with like vegetables and pickles and stuff. What I'm gonna do though, because I am not a top grade chef, when it comes to actually cooking food, but we definitely gonna cook up all these stories. I'm gonna let this guy right here explain exactly what we're having. So we get a treat today. For the first show, we're getting a treat. We're actually gonna cook the meal together before we get to all the stories. Let's do that now. And shout out to him. His channel is Food Fusion PK. So go ahead and link up with him, subscribe. Looks like he's got some good content, and see what he's got to say.
We're making shawarma today. बड़ी जबरदस्त फ्यूजन रेसिपी है चिकन टिक्का shawarma wraps. दोनों सॉसेस भी बनेंगी shawarma की इसके अंदर. Our happy cooking partner for this recipe is Rapster Wraps. So let's get started. First step, marination. We have boneless chicken here, thick Greek yogurt, lemon juice, ginger garlic, zira, Kashmiri lal mirch, haldi, lal mirch, Himalayan pink salt, dhania powder, tikka masala, kasuri methi. Finally, some oil. Let's go in.Use your hands. It's always the best. Give it a nice massage. Make sure all those flavors are nice and incorporated. Chicken marination कम से कम आधा घंटा लेती है, मगर best flavor के लिए 2 घंटे दे दीजिएगा. Now let's quickly make red shawarma sauce. Chili flakes soaked in hot water to take out all that flavor. Himalayan pink salt. Lemon juice in. Soy sauce in. Tomato ketchup. 1 small onion chopped. 6 to 7 garlic cloves. Oil. Close and blend. Look at that. This one's done. Oh, thank you. Now we're making the white sauce. Mayo goes in. और इसमें जाएगी दही. Lemon juice. Main ingredient. Garlic goes in. Sesame seeds. Black pepper. Himalayan pink salt. Pakistan की शान. Oregano, whatever it is. हमारी जुबान नहीं है. Watch the magic.
We watching.
ये देखो. Done. Next up, we grill the chicken. चूल्हा लगाएं, जल्दी करें. Grill pan on. Oil in, stove on. Bring it to heat. Marinated chicken. I'm using my Food Fusion tong. Let's grill it. I just love that sizzling sound. Remember, medium flame, 5 to 6 minutes each side. ना ज़्यादा, ना कम. ज़्यादा किया तो juicy नहीं रहेगा और कम किया तो कच्चा रह जाएगा. I like that charred chicken. This is done. 1, 2, 3, 4. Julian में मैं इसको chop कर रहा हूँ roughly. Don't forget to collect all these juices. बहुत flavor होता है इसमें. Assembling के लिए हम use कर रहे हैं Rapster के tortillas. Rapster is a local Pakistani brand और आके ये भाई छा गया है. We've been using Rapster at Food Fusion for a very long time. Right now flour tortilla use कर रहे हैं, but they also have whole meal, garlic herb और हर एक में इनके पास 4 different sizes हैं. And they also started introducing the Ziploc packaging. Ziploc packaging की वजह से ये fresh रहते हैं. हमेशा हमें problem रहता था वो एक दफा खुल गया सारे यूज करने पड़ जाते थे. But now you have a Ziploc packaging. International brands को टक्कर दे रहे हैं ऐसे ब्रांड.
He just advertising his wraps. Let's get back to the food, man.
Iceberg lettuce. Jalapenos जाएंगे इसमें. White sauce जो हमने बनाई थी वो जाएगी ऊपर. Get your hands under. Nicely folded. Shawarma हमारा wrap हो गया. थोड़ा सा grill करेंगे, अच्छी सी लाइनें आएंगी, and then हम इसको serve करेंगे. Oil brush करेंगे इसके ऊपर. Tortilla on top. Grill करेंगे.
See, I was wondering if he was gonna cook it up.
Ready? Look at this. Let me give it a try. Amazing. आप लोग
What y'all think about that? What y'all think about? I think you did a good job presenting everything. And honestly, like, you know, I've never actually even had it. So I'm just appreciating being able to enjoy this meal with y'all while we get to this news. And that's what we're going to do right now. So let's go to our first story. Illegal street takeovers. This is in Lincoln Park, Chicago, Chi-Town.
Tonight of another one of those illegal street takeovers. As you know, dozens of these dangerous gatherings have caused headaches for Chicago police and for neighbors for years. Take a look at this one. This happened earlier this month at the corner of Fullerton and Cannon Drive. This is right in the middle of Lincoln Park. NBC5's JC Navarrete talked to neighbors about what happened here.
It's unfortunate.
I mean, yeah, it's concerning.
I've never seen that happen, so wow. Concerned this Friday night from those who call Lincoln Park home. I showed neighbors this video of a street takeover on Fullerton and Cannon that took place on March 2nd at 1:20 in the morning, just feet away from the Lincoln Park Zoo.
I've been noticing more folks kind of coming around on like the tri-wheels and motorcycles and just going right through like red lights and stuff like that.
This video was obtained by CWB through a Freedom of Information Act request to CPD. You see what begins as a small gathering quickly explode into dozens of people blocking the intersection, doing donuts, and burnouts. And even at one point, a man uses a gas can, pouring fuel on the concrete. He quickly lights the intersection on fire. One driver even hit the crowd. As quickly as this street takeover broke out, so did the response by CPD, thanks in large part to pod cameras just like this one that were able to capture what was going on and quickly alert police to the situation. Police were eventually able to get a handle of the situation and clear the intersection. At first, you see cars attempting to flee. CPD armed with spike sticks doing everything they can to disable cars. Eventually, police did block this vehicle in and got both the driver and a passenger in handcuffs before being placed in a squad car.
And a Tesla?
It appears those two were the only ones arrested. It's unclear what charges they may face, while dozens of others drove away. We reached out to police directly for comment on this situation, but did not hear back in time for this report. Neighbors tell me they hope this was an outlier and not the norm, with summer right around the corner.
You think that sometimes, like when you watch movies like Fast and Furious is, obviously one of the more popular ones, and it's like mostly all the cars, like everybody involved in the illegal street races gets away. Right, Brian's maneuvering through traffic, Dominique Toretto's merging through alleys, swapping out cars in garages. Like that's what just happened. They caught one out of everything that was happening. Most of the guys are actually on foot. They caught one vehicle, a Tesla, and apprehended a few suspects after all this chaos in the streets for hours, it seemed like. And, Chicago's been dealing with a lot as far as crime on all accounts, very gruesome crimes out in Chicago. And there's a lot going on with them right now with the National Guard possibly on the way out there to try to cure a lot of the problems that they're having over there. But I don't really know. I know that their police are actually like handicapped in a way. They took away a lot of their resources. There's not as many police officers as they'd like to have, so I don't really know exactly what's going on, but I do know that there are people in the community trying to thwart all of these takeovers as far as what's going on with, because think like honestly, like a lot of these are teenagers, so we got to look at where the problem stems from, and a lot of it's from the parents like not putting any rules on their kids and allowing them to be out late at night. A lot of these vehicles are stolen. That's why you see a lot of them get set on fire and all those different types of things. So we are going to watch this video here where we're going to see how they're trying to combat this and just ease a lot of the attentions that the people are having.
It's been a warm evening in Chicago and what has typically been inviting weather for those large teen gatherings we've seen in recent weeks. So Chicago police tried to stay one step ahead tonight. They made a big show of force in Streeterville, hoping to prevent any chaos. The question now, did it work? NBC5's Courtney Sisk is live in Streeterville with the story tonight.
Is the fast.
Well, Stefan, so far it seems like it might have worked. The question now will be whether or not this method is sustainable. Chicago police are on nearly every corner in Streeterville tonight, and the Chicago Office of Emergency Management and Communications blocked rideshare drivers from making drop-offs in this area. All of this as a preventative measure to stop teen takeovers that were planned for tonight. On a bustling Friday night in Streeterville, tourists and residents alike fill the sidewalks. But this weekend, so are the police.
I see a great police presence. There's an ambulance here, and it's just there's just cops on every corner.
And visitors can't help but wonder what it's for.
I didn't know if something had happened.
The police presence is designed as a preventative measure to keep what's known as teen takeovers under control. The past few weekends have brought crowds of teens to Streeterville, in some instances ending in shootings and mayhem. CPD said in a statement they and their public safety partners utilize many resources and tools to maintain safety during large gatherings and adjust resources based on need.
It's very scary because I live very close by. So there's been a few shootings in the last month.
Bonnie Krasny has seen what can happen when the gatherings get out of control and hopes the extra patrol will help.
I've never seen anything like this. That's why I asked the police if they knew something was coming.
This time they did, and so do the violence interrupters at the Crisis Prevention Response Unit, who monitor social media to find where teen takeovers could pop up.
Our job is to make sure that the kids can come down, everybody can enjoy the city, and make it back home safe.
The Office of Emergency Man.
Yeah, but that's a lot of the problem, though. Like, they shouldn't even be out there late at night just hanging around downtown. Like, I mean, look, summer, maybe a little bit different, but, like, honestly, like, I don't even remember hanging out downtown. Like even my kids, like, they don't hang out in these type of crowds at all. Like, they're in sports. You know, they got different activities that they're going to do as far as hanging out with friends. You know, they might go camping, they might be going swimming, you know, having a movie party, different things like that. But most of the time, they're in the house like by 9, 10 o'clock, and they're in bed by like 10:30, 11, right? But there's a lot of activities that, you know, you should keep your kids in when they're just roaming around and they have no direction on or anybody to really help them understand what they should be doing. You know, you're going to end up with situations like this, and the police aren't their parents, so it's really difficult because there's a lot of red tape when dealing with juveniles that they have to deal with that are different from adult criminals. And there's so many of them, it's just like, it's kind of overwhelming, right? Like, and it's kind of like if you're a single parent and you got 8 kids that you're dealing with in the home, I mean, it's going to be chaos. And that's what the police are dealing with. You know, they got a whole bunch of kids that, you know, a lot of them unruly, and there's probably like 40 kids to each police officer. So, you know, at a lot of points they're handicapped. They can really only catch a small percentage of them. And, you know, that's kind of what they're dealing with.
Management also put up a geofence to prohibit rideshare apps from dropping off in the area. They will lift the fence if no takeover occurs. Now, groups of teens did still come to Streeterville tonight as they had planned to on social media, but no takeover ensued. Reporting live in Streeterville, Courtney Sisk, NBC 5 News.
Courtney, an enjoyable night out there to enjoy the city.
Yeah. It'll go right into, you know, more stories. Officer shot. What does it say? Fatally shot by Chicago police officer. Oh, let's actually watch this. I'm not gonna watch this ad though. We'll come back when the ad's done. Yeah. Just a little bit extra. We weren't gonna watch this, but since it auto played into it, we can check out this story too. I owe y'all a little bit of extra time just because we got started late today. So we're gonna see what's going on with this other story. So with their audio. Nah, this ain't our audio. This is the news audio. All right, yeah, we're out of here. We're done with this. All right, so what do y'all think about the takeovers as far as in the Chicago streets? And what do you think are some solutions to fix this? Because it's only getting worse. And do you think that sending the National Guard into Chicago is the right choice? You know, I'm seeing both arguments on both sides. And, you know, for me, I think sometimes you just got to admit when you need help. They did it in D.C., and some people are upset about it, but it's mostly the people that are committing the crimes. The people that are just law-abiding citizens, going to work, don't want to get carjacked, don't want to be crossing the street when they got the walk guy that says, hey, you're good to cross the street, and the light's green, and then all of a sudden they're hit by a car that's running a red light, that's doing donuts unnecessarily in the middle of the intersection. So yeah, we're gonna continue to cover this and see what we get to, especially, you know, if we get to the point where the National Guard is sent over there, and kind of see how that plays out. So for now, we're gonna move on. We're gonna go down to Houston, and we're gonna see what's going on over in Houston, because if they're not, now this person is more than likely an adult. So the crime is like all ages, and we got a lot to get to, team. Let's check this one out though. Did he drop his gun? Hold on, man. Hold on real quick. Gotta run that back, bro.
Oh my god. Oh my gosh. Shut up.
Hold on.
Judge my physical and mental, my physical as well as my mental fitness.
Clumsy criminal. So he don't got his gun holstered, face clearly exposed. He tries to grab the hammer, it falls through his pants, then he falls down. He's in Nike slides. He pulls the mask over to expose his hairline. Yeah. And then did he just knock over a can of pop? What is going on? What did he grab? And he just grabs a 24-pack of Corona and just dips? You didn't need a gun to do any of that. You just turned minor theft into a felony. All right, let's watch this again. Bro, this got to be one of the dumbest criminals I've ever seen, bro. He didn't even have a gun cocked. So he cocks it. And it's crazy because he actually looks kind of young, but he's old. He's probably like at least in his 30s. He's got all the facial hair shaved off, but you can tell by the hairline and just his overall appearance. And then he pulled a gun out and bro was behind bulletproof glass. I wish we had the audio. I love to have the audio of this. He's going to jail. The problem is probably not for very long. He did all that for a 24-pack of beer. And we got some comical, the police department's having fun with it. They show him on the ground, all clumsily. That's not even the best picture of his face, but they just want to show how much of an idiot he is. And then he doesn't even run out. He walks. But so the criminals from earlier, right? That were doing the street takeovers, the car street takeovers and all that. You know, they eventually turn into guys like this. Because they're not very smart. They're like letting cars spin around them as far as like burnouts and everything, getting hit by the cars, lighting uncontrolled fires, probably under the influence. And this guy's probably drunk. And it's like we're seeing this happen, and it's just not getting any better. It's not stopping. So, you know, for me, like, I enjoy actually covering stuff like this because I find it extremely entertaining. However, these are serious crimes, right? Like, and he's a danger not only to everybody in the public, but himself. And that's one of the main reasons that people like that should be locked away. Because it's one thing when you're doing something that only can hurt you. But when you're actually putting everybody else in danger, the crime is like, it jumps up exponentially at that point. So, yeah, that's what we got going on in Houston. And now we got to go over to Florida. We are going to go to the Sunshine State of Florida. And we got a guy over in Florida that was arrested. And this one is actually like, I don't know. When I think about crime, I think all of it. I think there is levels to crime. There's definitely petty crime. Then you got misdemeanor. Then you got felonies. Kind of how they label it. But like realistically, you know, some crimes like, okay, you got low offenses, right? Like jaywalking, right? Maybe public intoxication, where it's like you're just drunk, but you're not really hurting anybody, but you're probably just like looking like a fool, walking around, slurred speech. Smaller things like littering and stuff like that. But I think public nudity is probably one of those things where, you know, it's getting into probably like serious. Let's watch this story and see what's going on.
I'm your Brevard County community correspondent, James Sparvero. This is a revenge porn story, perhaps unlike any you've ever heard of, and very unsettling because police say that many children may have seen these naked photos that someone posted. That's because police say they were posted in a public place, inside a public supermarket in Satellite Beach. The police say that these pictures were everywhere in the store, from shopping carts, like the seats where the kids sit, to the bathroom, and a display aisle outside the store. So have you heard about when the police say a man went into the store and he put naked pictures of a woman he's having a custody battle with just about everywhere?
This happened here? What?
According to the police, yes.
No way. You're just people going crazy or what? I understand trouble, but going to that extent is unbelievable.
I tried calling Chris Stamen, and since he's out on bond, I knocked on a couple of doors, but I didn't have any luck connecting with him for his side of the story. When he was in jail, during his first appearance,
Christopher Stamen?
An attorney raised her concerns about the allegations.
The state is also concerned that these photos were placed on the child seating areas of the shopping carts.
Sexual cyber harassment, or the revenge porn law in Florida, can put someone in jail for a year if prosecutors can prove the suspect meant to cause the victim emotional distress.
So this is a case of revenge porn. A case of revenge, like, yeah, there's different ways to approach that. Like, I never really got into trying to get revenge on pretty much anybody for the most part. Like, I think just being fueled from revenge is usually going to get you in some of the worst positions in life. Got to be able to let shit go and move on. There's probably only a couple of things where it's like, you know, you have to get revenge, like, but breaking up with somebody, your exes, I don't know, you chosen to begin with. I mean, people change, so there's that part of it. But also, when you do things like this, I mean, yeah, you might get a little self-gratification in the moment. You might feel good about it. I'm putting her naked pictures out there and all that. But if she was cheating on you or whatever the case is, then somebody else already seen her naked anyway. So you really ain't getting over on her at that point. And I mean, let's be honest, like, if you want to see naked people, it's very easy to do nowadays. You can go pretty much on most platforms and find that type of content. So my thing is just like, and oftentimes, I mean, people present themselves in that way anyways. They'll basically go out wearing not much clothing, and you can pretty much just imagine after that. So, you know, all he's really doing is just giving himself an unnecessary L. And now here he is giving his ex all the ammunition to fry him. So if they got any type of custody issues, divorce, breakup, divorce, decree, alimony, spouse support, child support, whatever the case is, I mean, it's probably going to be ruled in her favor 100% after what he did. And now you're a criminal too, so it's like you're losing all your rights, and here you are on lunch with DotSale, having your picture plastered all over the internet for everybody to see how dumb you look. But the thing is that a lot of times with people that do stuff like this, they'll do it again, and they really don't care about the consequences that are associated with it because they're in such a rage, and sometimes that rage lasts for a long time. But this guy's obviously very old, so one of the problems is when you, like, the older people get, the more serious that their problems become. Like, when you're 20 and you're dealing with something like this, you have plenty of time to recover. He probably feels like he has nothing to fall back on. He very well could have worked his whole life to get to where he's at. It could have took him 20, 30 years to build up his stock portfolio to a decent amount, or, he might have 20 years into a 30-year mortgage at this point that he bought when he was 25. Now he's 45, although he looks more closer to 55, 60. So he might have his whole house paid off at this point. And he gets with the wrong person, at least for him, and now he's in jeopardy of losing it all. So, he probably doesn't care and figures, hey, I'm going to be broke out here. I might as well get 3 free meals and shelter for the rest of my life moving forward, because I won't be able to provide it for myself with somebody stealing everything that I have through the government. So I don't know, but what he did is just not good from a standpoint of, when you get kids involved in anything, then you put yourself in a whole different category. Like, leave the kids out of it. Like, if you're going to put the pictures out, like, go to the nightclub, go to, just name a club, Magic City, the basement bar. Like go to a place where it's all adults, it's 21 up, and put the pictures out there. At least worst case, you're still getting the word out, but you're not affecting innocent children and making them be subjected to those images. And that's where you're gonna have most of the problems with this situation, and it's gonna enhance everything. So let's watch the rest of this and see if we get anything else.
What I found interesting in Stamen's report, he's never actually seen putting the pictures in all those places the police accuse him of. Although the actual placement of the images was not captured on video, the defendant's conduct, timeline, and location strongly support his involvement.
So what do you think should happen to this person if this is true?
To the man that did this, he should be responsible. This is not something you go do to anybody really, especially not somebody that you have children with.
In Satellite Beach, Brevard County, I'm your community correspondent, James Sparvero.
Shout out to James Sparvero. There was something a little weird about this whole setup that he has. Like, it's kind of like, I don't know. Can y'all get like the way like he presented this? It's not presented like regular news. Like, it just seems like there's something a little weird about the way he presented this. I'll figure it out. Yeah, doing the whole, revenge porn, all that type of stuff. I never got down with that. I don't even speak on anybody I had past relationships with, especially in public, but even in private, like it just never comes up. Like, when we break up, I just move on. Like, it's too much energy to even focus on, the past in general, unless you're trying to do it from a standpoint of you're trying to get better and improve yourself. So, when I make mistakes, I do think about them to make sure I don't make the same mistake over, and I can see the signs moving forward. But I never look at them from a place of I'm angry, upset, and seething at what happened, because it's literally just a waste of energy. And then you end up in jail facing all kinds of charges that are going to affect you for the rest of your life. And, this guy might even have to register as a sex offender. So, a lot of mistakes made by him, and ultimately the person that he was with, although got her images put out, which he didn't even put them out on the web. He put them out like only as, like if you put it out on like Facebook or TikTok or Instagram or X or YouTube or something like that, then at least a wide range audience can see it. But if you just put it out at the local grocery store, it's going to be like probably like 10, 15, 20 people that see it before somebody just takes the photos and like throws them in the garbage. Like, I don't really get what he was trying to do there. He really just caused pain to himself and not very many other people. So, yeah, that's what's going on in Florida. We're going to move on now. And we are going to go to New York. And we're going to talk about how thieves got away with $225,000 in luxury goods from the Soho store. Let's watch the story.
Another high-end heist. This time at a store
Another
in Soho
one.
called Rebag.
We've covered plenty of these. We've covered plenty of these.
$225,000 in merchandise.
And they were in and out in a matter of minutes. It comes days after a holdup at gunpoint at the Gucci store in the meatpacking district. News 4's Gabby Acevedo is outside the Rebag store with the latest on this investigation. Gabby?
Gilba, Adam, investigators say that the two thieves forced their way into the Reebok store through this basement door. Once inside, they broke display glasses before stealing luxury handbags and watches worth almost $250,000. High-end shopping has been put on hold at this Reebok store in Soho. Police say that back on February 12th, around 11 p.m., these two suspects took off with up to $225,000 worth of handbags and watches.
It's scary in New York.
What is the obsession with criminals showing their face off? especially in a time where
police say that back on February 12th, around 11 p.m., these two suspects took off with up to 225.
We got the two numbskulls because think about it. If you're doing all this, how hard is it to just throw a mask over your face? Right? I got some cleanup. I got allergies right now. Do y'all get allergies? Like the last 4 years, I've gotten allergies. I actually tried to take like some Claritin, like the first year because it was really bad, and I don't really like taking a lot of medicine. And I think the one I had, it like goes all up in your nostrils and all that, and it was making my eyes water, and it was helping, but I just thought that the collateral damage wasn't worth it. I'm just like, I'll just deal with it. So now I'm just dealing with it, and I sneeze a lot and stuff. Should be done in about 2 weeks anyway. Usually only lasts for about a month. But I got some tissue right here. You could literally just do this. This costs you nothing. This is like less than a penny worth of tissue right here. You could just grab this and just like come in there. You could grab this, put it over your face. Right, you already got the ski mask, or you already got the hat. So let's see. Yeah, I mean he's gonna be easy to identify right here. Look how much more you're covered right here just with this. And he's got the sunglasses on, but it's just not enough. He does got gloves on, so good for him there. But just I don't understand why people are bad at everything they do now. Like, whenever I do something, I want to be the best at it. So, this is a new format for me as far as doing live shows, and I might not be the best at it right now, but I guarantee within a certain amount of time, as I continue to work at this, I will become the best, or I'll be in the top best afternoon live shows on the planet. It's a guarantee. These guys here, this is not their first time doing this, have not gotten better. And they've both been to jail before. I can pretty much guarantee that. And they're going to go to jail for this crime. They're going to get out and they're going to do it again. And they're going to get caught again. And that's the problem. If you're going to do something, do it at the highest level or don't do it at all. They just don't understand that.
With up to $225,000 worth of handbags and watches.
I mean, that guy on purpose has his mask down under his lips. He literally could have just left only this visible. And he could have threw the sunglasses on. You'd have no idea who this man is. But right here, that's enough on his face to identify him. If he had his iPhone out, right? Or his Android phone, it'd be able to FaceTime unlock his phone with that much face exposed. So you don't think they can't do a facial scan on you and get that information from the database of your mugshot that you already have in the system? Y'all are both caught.
It's scary in New York, especially like in Soho, because it's like a big shopping center.
Detectives say the two alleged thieves accessed the Reebok store on West Broadway through this basement door. After the heist, surveillance video caught them with their faces uncovered, one of them rolling a cart believed filled with the stolen items. Officers say they were later spotted near Fresh Pond Road and 60th Road in Queens.
I don't think they care about being caught because I don't think it's just one person or two people. I think it's a group of people doing it.
Reebok store management has yet to comment on the incident.
They care about being caught.
According to the NYPD, there have been 30 other burglaries so far this year in the area, including Soho, up from 25 cases during the same time last year. Some luxury customers feeling uneasy about this recent criminal trend.
Yeah, absolutely. We were just made informed pretty much, but of course coming into the city, we know that there's a chance of something like that happening.
This incident happening just a week before a daring heist took place in the middle of the day at a Gucci store in the meatpacking district, all caught on video. Detectives say 2 men and a woman went into the store and grabbed up to $58,000 worth of merchandise. Police say one of the thieves pulled out a gun and told people to get down on the floor.
They've probably been told ahead of time, that's the bag I want you to grab, that's the jacket, and they know exactly where to go.
The NYPD releasing these photos of the thieves in that case so far.
How you stealing from the luxury store and your bag ain't even a luxury bag? You wearing cheap clothes and you jacking the luxury store. Like you should be robbing at your level, I guess you could call it. Like you don't even know what you're stealing. It's probably stuff in there that costs way more than what they were taking. Because they're taking orders basically. Where it's like you just take the highest price items and you get up out of there. And then you figure it out from there. You don't go in there and see the bag that costs $50,000, but somebody requested the $10,000 bag and you take the $10,000 because you're going to jail for the same time for both of them. You get caught for any of it, you're going, and she's going to jail for sure. 100%. And why are eyebrows thicker than mine? Look at my eyebrows. Look at hers. Is that what the women are doing with their eyebrows now? I ain't heavy in the makeup scene. I know she got the long eyelashes going on, but ain't did nothing with her teeth. Like she ain't did nothing with her teeth yet, or her weight. But another giveaway though is when you're going into high-end stores like this and you're dressed like that, you're automatically watched. Like the second you walk in, because you're not supposed to be there. And that's why you have to do crimes at your level. Like, she should be stealing from like Rainbow, Deb, name some of the lower, like Shein. If Shein had a department store, like that's where she should be stealing from. Like a Shein department store type place. Not Soho in New York. Well,
no arrests.
We have to be aware. You never know the outcome.
Do they say no arrests?
Where to go?
The NYPD releasing these photos so far, no arrests.
We have to be aware. You never know the outcome of what can happen on a daily basis.
And we learned last week that the New York State executive budget is planning to allocate $22.5 million to establish a new police unit to pursue organized retail theft cases.
And the other thing about it too is like, from a standpoint of the manufacturers, they basically lose nothing because the majority of stuff they make cost them nothing to make. Like, so that $10,000 handbag, the manufacturer, it probably cost them, I don't know, 2, 3, 4, 500 max to make it. And that's if you're talking about very, very high quality material associated with it. And it's like a one of one. It's like hand stitch. But if it's coming off like an assembly line, like in a factory where they're just mass producing it, I mean, the cost is significantly lower. So it's like the value on a lot of these things are just made up values. Like it's literally just based off what people are paid. So, in this story, if we go back, right, and you look right underneath me and you see this handbag right here, and this is just a generic handbag right underneath me. But the way it looks right now, this handbag is worth $100, right? Now, if I was just to go ahead and slap a LV logo on that, maybe with the print, or a Balenciaga across the front, or Hermes or Birkin, that same handbag that is probably $100 retail could shoot up to $15, $20, $30, $40, $50, $60, $100,000 just based off of the brand name associated with it. So it's like the actual man. Now, here's the problem. The retailers that get this merchandise, they are taking a big hit because they got to get this bag from Gucci, and they got to pay Gucci that 5,000% markup. Gucci ain't hurting, but the store probably is paying, like, say it's a $10,000 bag. They're probably getting the bag for like $9,000, right? They're probably getting the bag for $8,000, right? Something like that. And I think this was even, I mean, just based off the name, I'm not sure. It says rebag, so I'm assuming that they take consignment and trade-ins and all that, or they buy it from people. Like, people sell their old stuff and then so they can upgrade, and then they resell it, which is probably really, really good profits for them. But yeah, this is just all just like the value of all this stuff that people be taking, like, just is not there. And you kind of just got to blame, like, us as a society for putting such a high value on things that should not have high value, right? Like, I've never been a brand guy. Like, I've never been a guy to advertise for multi-million-dollar companies that don't care if I'm alive or not. So it's very rare that you're going to see me walking around with a shirt that has a big logo on it, because all you're doing is just advertising for them. And, you know, there's people that think that I am a very interesting person. There's people that think that I'm a cool person. There's probably some people that don't like me, but it's all the same. Regardless, I attract attention. So because of that, whatever I'm wearing is going to get eyes on it, and it's going to influence the people that see me in it. And then they very well might go and shop and buy that brand, which is the reason that I would tell most people, just make your own clothing, wear your own brands, right? And that way, you're at least benefiting yourself, because unless these companies are actually giving back to you or your community in a way where you can actually see that help coming to you, then I just don't understand it, because the majority of the time, what they're selling you is not even close to worth what it is that you're paying for it. Moving right along, though, we're going to get to our last story before we get to our surprise one at the end, our feel-good story. We're going to talk about a brawl among teens that creates a disturbance at a fashion center in Torrance, California. California, looking with a house party. All right, let's check this story out, see what we got going on.
Massive brawl that sent as many as 1,000 kids running at the Del Amo Fashion Center. Eyewitness News reporter Jaysha Patel is live in Torrance with details. Jaysha.
Leslie, things were out of control outside of the mall. Police were called out. It took nearly 3 hours to clear the area, and the chaos was all caught on camera. Torrance police were called out to Carson Street around 4 p.m. yesterday, and they found a large group of people fighting each other. People were scrambling, and employees at nearby businesses had to lock their doors. Police don't know why the brawl started, but Torrance officers spoke to a witness that said a gun was fired at some point.
They went in the movies, they kicked the doors open, they broke the doors, they kicked the people in there. It was just a whole bunch.
They were just standing in our stairwell, and my managers just asked them very nicely, like, hey, can you just move over to the waiting area? And they just started cursing at her and going at her, and then that's when they just threw a cup of water on her and walked down, were threatening to fight us all.
There were multiple brawls involving people in the same age group under 18 years old at movie theaters across the country yesterday. It It was National Cinema Day, and many theaters were offering $4 tickets. About 300 kids started fighting outside of an AMC theater in Emeryville.
300
Police
kids.
say one gunshot was fired, but no one was hurt. Only one person was arrested, and about an hour later, police say that one teen was stabbed.
I don't consider them kids. Like realistically, like, and this is probably more now. I mean, maybe like hundreds of years ago was a little bit different. But then again, 100 years ago, people had way shorter life expectancies. Like, you damn near was like old when you were like in your 40s. Like, one bad thing happens and you can't even get it fixed. Because we didn't have modern medicine back then. So like, you know, a small cut on your leg could turn into you having to get it amputated rather than just being able to treat the wound with, you know, peroxide and different types of medications. But my thing is this, right? At their age and the way that they're acting, they're literally just like, now from a perspective of prefrontal cortex and all that, I mean, sure, whatever. But they have the bodies of adults, especially the boys, like 15, 16-year-old boys. Like, I'll give you an example. Like, if you got a JV high school basketball team and you put them on the court against a 40-plus men's league team, right? Put them on the court against a 40-plus men's league team. Do I got it? I thought I had it. I don't got it. I thought I had the sound. You put them up against them, they're probably going to run them off the court. They're going to run circles around them guys. They just got too much energy, too much testosterone. So it's like, from that standpoint, just from a physical standpoint, they're very dangerous, right? But then when you add that with the reckless nature that's associated with what they're out there doing, they become very dangerous. And I mean, you see it, and they're high strung off emotions, right? Everything is an emotion based reaction, which when you get emotions involved, you know, anything's possible. And that's usually when unnecessary problems occur, when you're just not thinking rationally, right? And you're just kind of hyped up off of your own situation. So this actually goes full circle from our first story with the teens doing takeovers. Many of them probably didn't even have licenses. And now you got $4 movie tickets at AMC and no parents to find anywhere. Parents are all hiding. Can't see them anywhere. So where the parents at? Where the parents at? Can't find none of them. I know this. My kids ever caught in anything like this, you're going to see me. You ain't going to see them ever again, but you definitely going to see me come out there and speak on it. And absolutely let everybody know that my kids will never be involved in something like this ever again, under every circumstance. And I can guarantee it. I guarantee it. You know, everybody makes a mistake at least once or twice. That's fine. But this is a reoccurring thing. And since there's no consequences, it's going to keep going.
Taken to the hospital. Over in Stockton, 2 people were reportedly pepper sprayed after a fight broke out near a movie theater. And in Boston, moviegoers say they had to evacuate a theater after a brawl. Tinseltown Theater in Gates, New York was also shut down because of the brawls, and Torrance PD did not indicate that this incident had any relation to the movie theater or other similar incidents around the country. But back out here live, as for this specific incident, no victims were found, and Torrance PD says that they are being assisted by other police departments because of how big this brawl was.
Yeah. Yeah, they need assistance from other police departments because of how big the brawl was.
And the next?
And it just shows that, you know, at some point, we might have to send a guard to every single out-of-control city in America to get this tamed. But the problem is the guard can't beat her all the time. So, you know, after they move on from one city, then the crime's just going to repopulate in that city again. And it's always going to be a game of cat and mouse with law enforcement and the criminals. And it's never going to stop. Now, there are good examples in other countries of crime not being as prevalent as in America. Shout out to Tira. Shout out to Tira. Said she watched me poolside. You know, we're in Dubai, right? And we're out there. It's like a city that is being built up at an alarming rate. Like I was just thinking, you know, out there watching how hard they work 24 hours a day. They got construction going 24 hours a day. They got to just be working at 8-hour shifts. Like, they basically, like, if you think about, like, EMTs, how their shifts are, like, you basically, as a firefighter, there has to be someone on shift 24 hours a day, you know, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. Like, they can never take a day off, even Christmas. That's how they're working out there in Dubai. The construction was nonstop. And so we had a view of it over by like the Burj Khalifa and all that. We had a view of it, and you know, they're just building everywhere. And they were just relentless. You come back here and it's like, we'll have construction crews not touch a construction project that's hindering the general public that pays taxes to make sure that these projects are taken care of. And it'll just be not touched. And then all of a sudden, if you're in a place like Minnesota, where the winter can be harsh, they can't even do anything. The ground gets too cold, the soil, the weather, all this other stuff. But when it's summer, they don't even capitalize and just work 24/7 during the summer. Whereas I believe like the majority of the construction projects, they could get done in, I'd say, 1/3 of the time that they get done on average. And after I seen how they work out there in the city of Dubai, and we spent time in Abu Dhabi too, I know for a fact that things can get done a lot more efficiently. Team, that's all we got for all of the crime stories. And we definitely got to take ourselves away from all of this negativity. So what we will always do is end it on a positive note. Now, this story here is, and I don't have video for this. I don't have video for this, which is fine. We don't need it. But it shows the story of an 8-year-old that throws a birthday party at an animal shelter. So we're going to go ahead and go over to that story, and we're going to read it. And look, y'all get a chance to hear me read to you. So it just shows how much I appreciate y'all. So if you are not subscribed yet and you're still here, definitely get subscribed, because we're going to have some really, really great shows coming up as we continue to progress and get better. And I don't want to do this by myself. I can. I mean, this whole setup, the whole studio, I put together by myself. But, you know, a lot of times in life, people aren't going to believe in you until you believe in yourself. So I understood that I had to do all of this on my own to begin with. But eventually, as you know, I start to catch a wave, people will want to come on and be a part of this. And a lot of you can be a part of it early on before just everybody starts to pile on. So, you know, you want to be one of the first subscribers before we hit the 3,000 mark. We'll get to 3,000 subscribers soon. I'm sure of that. Then we'll get to 4 or 5. And then after you get to 5, then it just goes 5, 10, and it goes 10, 20, and it goes that way. And, you know, with that, I just want to know that I'm building with like-minded people that I can say are family. And when you subscribe, that's what you're considered. So definitely keep that in mind. And, you know, you can like and share as well. Let's get to the story. We got to work on some of these sounds. Yeah. We'll get it done.
Impressive.
I got some stuff I'm working on. Always feel free to leave your comments and suggestions in the comments below as well, because I will read them and respond to most of them, especially early on when I don't have very many comments and a lot of engagement. So this is definitely a time where you can really build a good personal relationship with me at this point, and you know, I think it'll be good for the future. 8-year-old girl asked for donations, not toys, for her birthday. Maya Joseph asked her birthday guests to bring donations for a local animal shelter rather than presents. We'll read the story. For her 8th birthday, Maya Joseph of Killeen wanted her birthday presents to impact more than just herself. That's why she invited those to her birthday party last week to bring donations for a local animal shelter rather than presents. Her parents, Tanja, and Norm Joseph, said they were more than happy to arrange the party. Shout out to her parents. Quote, Maya loves to help others, Tanja said. Quote, we've always been big on teaching her kindness towards others, and there's more joy in giving than receiving. I agree with that. She said, I just want to get donations instead of presents, and that's what we put on the invitations. Her parents also took the opportunity to throw a pet-themed party that featured food that was entirely vegan and an adoption box where each child got to pick out a stuffed cat or dog. Wow. I didn't even read any of this. I don't really have time to look through a lot of these stories, so I try to, I want to get my reactions in the moment. So I like the aspect of it being vegan, and not just from a standpoint of but think about it. You're at an animal shelter, right? So just think how the animals would feel. I know y'all gonna be like, animals don't feel. No, I'm saying it just from, you go to an animal shelter and you're serving chicken, you're serving lamb, you're serving goat, you're serving pig, and you're at an animal shelter and you're eating animals. It's not a little weird? I know a lot of people don't have a brain like that, so it doesn't really make sense to hear this perspective, but isn't it a little bit odd? Picture you go to a party, right? And let's say you're in another country, because that's probably how animals feel when they're in a human environment. It probably feels like they're in a whole different household, a whole different culture, a whole different set of rules, right? But let's say you go to another country, right? We won't name the country, but you're in another country, a lot of different social norms, and you go to one of their buildings and they're serving human food. You get what I'm saying? They're serving actual humans as food. So in their culture, in their society, they eat humans. They don't want to let the bodies go to waste. So if somebody, maybe they don't kill them, but somebody, lose their life, unfortunately, instead of letting them go to waste, they eat them. So you go there and they're eating humans and you're a human. How would you feel about that. I said the word feel on purpose, not believe. I said the word feel on purpose, which I don't usually use because it's usually more of a belief thing. But it's kind of how the animals will feel, right? They're kind of a little bit skeptical. They're kind of like, Y'all say you love us. You say you care about us as cats and dogs and hamsters and gerbils and iguanas and all that and birds. But you're literally eating. You want me as a pet bird, but you're eating a bird. You're eating a goose. You're eating a chicken. You're eating a turkey. But you're saying, I'm going to be safe with you? Yeah, until you get hungry. Then what? Am I up on the menu? So, you got to think about it from the animal's point of view sometimes. Let's finish the story up. Norm said about a dozen people brought supplies for the shelter. The donations included food, toys, and bowls for the animals. Tanja said a few guests even brought Maya gifts along with their donations. I like that. That's something I would have did. I would have still looked out for the animals because that's the directions that were given. However, I still would have hooked the girl up with something nice. And, you know, maybe even something that she could have as a present for her, but also be able to give back to the animals that she cares so dearly about. I guess a few people had mercy for her, Tanja said, laughing. The family plans to take the donations to the Bell County shelter later this week. And that is going to conclude our show for today. This is the first one, the first show. Oh, we got a lot of improvements that we're going to be able to make as time goes on. I just want to say, like, you know, I just appreciate anybody that was here for the first one because, you know, when we get to, you know, maybe show 300, right? It's going to be a whole different situation. You know, the whole setup might be different. The presentation might be different. Everything we do might be different, but we can always go back to this first show and remember how we started. And that is one of the best things about progressing and documenting your progression is that you can actually see where you started and where you got to. You know, I've had a lot of success outside of YouTube within my life that I'm very grateful for. Relationships with people, you know, as far as work and achievements. You know, one of them was just earlier this year when I made the state tournament as a basketball official. It's the highest level that you can get to as a high school basketball official in the state. And I was up there with probably the top 5% of officials in the state of Minnesota. And then when you want to go broad as far as the whole country of the United States of America or even the world, I'm probably up there with maybe the top 15%, right? When it comes down to that, right? Because, you know, top 5% in your state would equal, you know, top 15% in the country or somewhere in there, right? Maybe a little less, a little more, right? Give or take. So it's like I remember when I had my first game as an official and I was so nervous, like I didn't know what to do. Like I studied and did all that, but it's just different when you actually go out there and perform. So this is no different, right? And, you know, I'm not necessarily new to YouTube, but this live format is something that's totally new. And, you know, so it's just kind of cool to do this and have this be the first time and then try to continue to get comfortable with it and really fine tune everything that's going on and really find a way to include the audience and our family within this. And I got some props on the way. I got some props we're going to be having soon. So it's going to be really good. But yeah, this is definitely something to remember. And, you know, my future self will definitely look back at this at some point and, you know, hopefully I want that for y'all too. I really want that for y'all too. So I appreciate y'all. And I guess till tomorrow. We'll get started on time tomorrow, right? We'll get started on time tomorrow. I had to work out some things though, and just make sure that I did the best that I could for y'all, because it's very important to me that I add value into your lives. And that's a lot of what this is for as well. Because the same way that Maya loves to help others, and that's why she wanted to throw her birthday party and give donations out to the animals at the shelters, it's similar to what I believe when I go on YouTube at any time. And just remember, we are better together than we are apart. And I hope y'all enjoyed the meal. I hope y'all enjoyed the meal. I'm out of here. Peace.